Okay, so today's opener, the last opener we're going to do before we take this quiz, because we're not postponing it, we're going to use substitution to solve each system of equations. So this first one here, what do you guys notice about it? What's something you notice about this first system of equations? Yeah, they both start with a y. So how would I substitute and solve?
Take the little one.
Okay, which one would you take?
Y equals x plus 6.
And what would you do with that?
Put it in for...
The y down below?
Yeah.
So when I see the y down below, what do I substitute in place of it?
Y equals x plus 6, but put in parentheses.
Okay, then what? What's the rest of your equation?
Minus 2.
Nah, equals?
Negative 2x minus 3.
Now, when you're substituting, you don't put that y variable with it. You're replacing that y with what the y equals. So you're basically taking this, x plus 6, and you're putting it in place of the y below. And then you're rewriting your entire equation. Okay, so now we have an equation which we can solve. The parentheses in this equation, do I need it? Do I need them? No. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of those. That way, it just helps me focus a little bit better. Now, in order to solve this equation, what do I need to do? Take a look at it. What do I need to do in order to solve this equation?
Combine my terms.
Get the...
Not yet. Emily? Get the variables on the same side. Which side do I want the variables on? Left. So I'm going to move what from the right side to get it to the left side? Ben?
Add 2x.
Yeah, so I'm going to add that 2x from the right side. Whatever I do on one side of the line of equality, I do it on the other to get my variables on the same side at the equal sign. So what's x plus 2x?
X plus x, 3x.
3x.
Equals negative 3.
Okay, now I have a two-step equation. So how do I go ahead and solve from here?
Minus 6 on both sides. You get negative 9. 3x equals negative 9. Then you divide it by 3.
You do not get 3x equals negative 9. You get 3x plus, you get 3x minus 3 equals negative 3.
No, wait. Let's look.
It'd be negative 3, guys.
It would be negative 3, yep. Any questions? Okay, so we have x equals negative 3. So when we solve for a system, we know our answer is going to be in ordered pair format. So I have my x and my y. You guys just solved that x equals negative 3. So now I need to figure out what y equals. How do I find out what y is going to equal? How do I solve for y?
Substitution on the top.
Yeah, substitution on the top. So if I'm going to use the top, I'm going to use y equals x plus 6. What do I substitute for?
You substitute x.
And what do I put in place of x?
Negative 3.
Okay, and then how do I solve that?
Negative 3 plus 6.
Which equals?
3.
Positive 3. Okay, so my ordered pair is negative 3, 3. That is my solution to my system. So I make sure I have parentheses around it to show that it's in an ordered pair. So I make sure that I have parentheses around it to show that it's an ordered pair. Good. And then I box my final answer. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this next system. Maddie, when I'm looking at this next system, do I have a variable that's totally by itself on one side of the equal sign? The top one. Well, it's not totally by itself, is it? What am I going to have to get rid of to make it totally by itself? Yeah. So I'm going to take 5x, this equation here in standard form. I'm going to rewrite it so that it is an equation where the variable is completely by itself on the left side. So Maddie said we're going to get the y by itself. In order to get the y by itself, how do I get rid of that 5x? Okay. So now I have negative y equals
5x minus 9.
Okay? Is my variable by itself? No. How do I get it by itself? No, not plus 1. Divide by -1. So then I'm going to have y equals,
5x plus 5.
okay. Now, I use this equation to substitute where? My top or bottom equation? My bottom.
Because you already used the top.
I already used the top.
Oh.
Remember, I used the top to rewrite the equation. So when I see what variable am I substituting for? Y. So when I see the y, what do I put in place of it?
5x plus 5.
So I'm going to put my parentheses, 5x plus 5, parentheses. What's the rest of my equation?
Equals 24.
Okay. Okay. So now I have my equation in which I'm solving for x. Chance. What do I do first here? Distribute. Go ahead and do that for me.
It's -30 3x minus -30.
Okay.
Minus 30x. Plus 30. Minus 30.
Okay. Then what do I do after I distribute?
Combine like
Combine.
terms.
Okay. What are my like terms I'm combining here?
3 and 30, -3.
So it's 3 minus 30x. 3x minus 30x. 3 minus 30.
Negative 27x.
Negative 27x minus 30 equals 24. Okay,
And then you'll plus 30,
that's right.
and you get negative 27x equals 54. And then divide by negative 27, which I don't have yet.
It's okay.
Negative 20x, what? Can't see.
Negative 27x.
I'm just gonna.
That's okay if you need to move so you can see.
can't do that.
It's negative 2.
Try it again, Josh. Take 54 divided by negative 27.
Negative 20. I didn't put-
Are you putting 54
No,
first?
I put in the wrong thing. Just,
Okay.
Just do it.
Okay, but I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page here. Okay, so I know my x equals 2. Which equation are we going to substitute for x in order to find y?
Y equals 5x plus 5.
Okay, so y equals 5x plus 5. And we know the value of which variable here?
X.
So what do I substitute for x?
Negative 2.
And then I solve.
Negative 10. Plus 5.
And combine.
Y equals negative 5.
Okay, so then my final answer is going to be,
Negative 2 slash negative 5.
not slash,
Comma.
comma, and then or parentheses. Good. Okay. We're going to have 2 more problems that we're going to practice with. And then we're going to see how you do.
We had to do it for the first-
Huh?
we had to do it.
Absolutely. You guys had yesterday off. You don't get 2 days off in a row.
You sure?
Positive.
If I quit school, I do.
You're not quitting school.
I mean, I'll just drop out without my mom knowing.
How can you do that?
You can't. Okay.
I can call myself in every
So-
day.
Let's take a look at the backside now. We have 2x minus 3y equals negative 12. And then we have x plus y equals 9. Which equation are we going to take from standard form? Now, standard form is where it has both variables on one side. Which equation are we going to get from standard form and write it as the equation where the variable is totally by itself on one side of the equal sign? The top or the bottom? The bottom, okay? Now, does it matter which variable I get by itself here?
No,
No. So which one do you guys want to get by itself?
I'm just gonna
The
say
little
solid Y.
We're going to solve for y. So when we say we're going to get that variable by itself, it's called solve for y. So we're going to solve for y. If I want to solve for y, what do I have to get rid of? If I want to get the y by itself, what do I have to get rid of? Minus x. So then I rewrite my equation as y equals what?
Negative x plus 9.
Okay, now, what do I do with this equation I just rewrote? What's the whole theme of the lesson? Where am I going to substitute it in? The top or the bottom equation? The top, okay? So it's saying y equals something. So when I see the variable y in my top equation, instead of writing y, what am I going to put that y equals? So I have 2x, listen guys, minus 3. When I have this y, what do I substitute instead of this y?
X, negative x plus 9.
So I am not going to write that y down at all. I'm substituting. So I'm going to put negative x plus 9. Then I have to finish write my equation, which equals negative 12. Okay? Josh, what do I do from this point? Okay, go ahead and do that for me.
2x plus 3x.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus 27.
Positive times a negative. There you go. All right, Maddie, now what?
Equals, over here, I'm trying to read this guys. Combine my terms,
You get.
5x minus 27 equals negative 12.
Now what, Riley?
Divide.
No, you
Or
add.
plus 27.
There we go. Which equals?
X equals 3. Divide by 5. Equals 15.
15. Next step, Emily.
You divide by 5.
And get
3.
okay. What do I do next, Dylan? Find our y. So which equation am I going to use here? Okay. Bottom, like which one do you mean? Like the bottom one, like the third one, second one, or first one?
Wait, what's the
We have this one, we have this one, and then we have the one that we came up with. It doesn't really matter, you guys. It really, truly doesn't. So which one do you want to use?
3?
Okay. So you said we're going to solve for y. So we have y equals negative x plus 9. What am I substituting for here?
3.
For which variable?
X.
So I have y equals negative 3 plus 9, which basically the negative times the 3 is negative 3 plus 9. What's negative 3 plus 9?
6.
And what's my final answer going to be?
3 and 6.
3 comma 6, parentheses around it for an ordered pair.
If only you could like set up the first problem and
Then you're good. It's just getting the first one.
I just can't pick through the first thing. Like literally, if you had every single first part of the problem down, I'd be able to ace it.
Okay, ace this one. You should be able to start this one.
I can't.
Look at it. All you have to do is look.
I solve it.
Nope.
I can't do it.
So look here. Do you have a variable that's totally by itself with nothing else on one side of the equal sign?
Yeah.
Which one, Josh?
X equals -3.
You are going to use that. That's going to be the equation you're going to use to substitute. What's the variable in front of that equal sign?
1.
What's the variable?
Oh, X.
So when you see this x up here, you don't write x. In place of x, you substitute what? Okay, so we have negative 3 minus 3y equals negative 15. Okay? Do I need these parentheses around this negative 3 here?
You don't have to.
Nah, so I'm just going to get rid of it.
Can I?
So now I want to solve for y. So how do I do that? What do I get rid of first?
That.
Add what?
3.
So I'm going to add 3. That means I have negative 3y equals what? That's negative 15.
Negative 12.
Negative 12, you okay?
Yeah, I just tired.
Okay. Okay, now what?
Divide
By?
-3. And you get +4.
Okay, How do I find my x value? It's already up there. So what's my ordered pair? What's my solution?
-3, comma 4.
Box.